I'm Haley. I'm 29, and if you'd asked me a few years ago, I would have said I had a pretty average family, nothing perfect, but nothing worth writing a tell-all about. Now, I'm not so sure I have a family at all. On paper, my life's in a good place. I'm a financial analyst for a major firm downtown, solid paycheck, work I'm passionate about, the kind of job that makes those college loans feel worth it. But 3 years ago, I was stuck in a mid-level role at a bank, going nowhere fast. Then an opening came up at my current company, and I took the leap. Best move I've ever made. My family story is a little different. My parents are in their late 50s. My sister Emily is 32, married to David, with an 8-year-old son, Logan. They live 20 minutes from mom and dad and spend half their lives at my parents' house. Me? I'm across town and see them maybe a few times a year. And every time I do, it's the same script: hours spent talking about Emily's latest project, Logan's soccer games, or David's job at the auto shop. If anyone remembers to ask what I'm doing these days, it's an afterthought. Half the time they still think I'm at the bank, renting a 1-bedroom. It's always been like this. Emily's the golden child. When she got her driver's license, my parents threw a backyard barbecue with balloons and banners. When I got mine 2 years later, they forgot until I mentioned it the next day. At 23, Emily announced she was pregnant, and suddenly, she was this glowing, perfect daughter, giving them their first grandchild. That same year, I graduated college with honors, and they showed up late to the ceremony because they were helping Emily set up the nursery. They act like it's all perfectly normal. Like, of course, Emily should be the center of attention. Of course, her milestones are family events while mine barely make the group text. And for years, I went along with it thinking if I just worked harder, achieved more, maybe they'd finally notice. 3 years ago, I thought that moment had come. I'd landed my dream job, a huge step up, a salary bump, a real shot at building the career I'd been chasing. I wanted to tell them in a way that felt special. So that Saturday, I stopped by the bakery for a decadent chocolate cake, grabbed a nice bottle of wine, and drove over to my parents' house. When I walked in, Emily and David were at the kitchen table with Logan. Perfect, I thought, everyone's here. I set the cake and wine on the counter. Mom looked at me like I'd just brought in a bag of groceries. "Why'd you bring cake, honey?" she asked. I smiled, took a seat, and said, "Well, I've got something to celebrate, some good news from work." That's as far as I got before Emily, practically bouncing in her chair, cut me off. "David and I have news, too. We're opening a car wash." Within seconds, the spotlight was on her. She talked about scouting locations, business loans, how exciting it was going to be. She pointed to my cake and wine and said, "Perfect timing, we can celebrate our big announcement." They poured my wine, they cut my cake. And I sat there, invisible, listening to them toast Emily's new venture with the things I'd brought to share my own victory. An hour later, I excused myself. No one asked why I'd brought the cake. No one remembered I had news. I drove home in silence, parked in my driveway, and stared at the steering wheel for a long time. That was the night I decided, I'm done begging for a place in my own family's story. Then my mom chimed in about 20 minutes later. "Haley, I already told my book club ladies they could come over Saturday for our monthly meeting. I've been planning this for weeks. You really should have given us more notice. You always spring things on us at the last minute." I just stared at that message. More notice? I'd given them almost 2 weeks, and always spring things on them? I barely tell them anything anymore. The real kicker came in her next text. "Your father and I won't be able to make it either. You know how important my book club is to me, and you're being inconsiderate with your timing. You only think about yourself, Haley." "Only think about myself," that line hit like a punch to the gut. Here I was, finally hitting a career milestone I'd worked toward for years, wanting to share it with the people who should be my biggest supporters, and somehow I was the selfish one. I sat there rereading her words until it all clicked into place. I didn't feel sad, I didn't feel disappointed. I felt clear. So I typed back, "No problem. I understand. Enjoy your plans." And that was it. No begging, no explaining. No trying to convince them this mattered to me. They'd already told me without saying it, my success doesn't register unless it benefits them. Funny thing is, I never even gave them my new address. I was waiting to send it after they confirmed. Now? They didn't need to know. Instead, I threw myself into planning a celebration for the people who actually show up for me. I booked a catered spread from one of the best restaurants downtown: mini crab cakes, beef tenderloin sliders, spinach artichoke dip, the works. Scheduled a cleaning service for Friday night so my place would be spotless. Bought good wine, craft beer, sparkling water for the non-drinkers. My friend Jessica offered to bring flowers and her camera. Michael from work said he'd help set up. Even my boss sounded genuinely excited to come, which meant more to me than any forced family congratulations ever could. Saturday came, and the whole day felt electric. I got my hair done that morning, slipped into a deep navy cocktail dress I'd been saving for a special occasion, and lit a few candles before the first knock on the door. Jessica arrived with a bouquet big enough to hide her face. Then Michael and his girlfriend, followed by a stream of coworkers and a few close college friends. By 8 o'clock, my apartment buzzed with laughter, clinking glasses, and the smell of warm appetizers drifting from the kitchen. Nobody asked where my family was. They didn't need to. Around 9, my boss tapped his glass for attention. "Haley," he began, looking straight at me, "3 years ago, I knew you were going places. But you've exceeded every expectation. You're smart, dedicated, and you see solutions where most people see roadblocks. And now, at 29, you're the youngest department head in this company's history." The room erupted in applause. I felt my throat tighten. No one in my family had ever spoken about me like that, not once. And, he added with a grin, "This promotion comes with a hefty raise. Next time we celebrate, it might be in a mansion you've bought with all that new money." Laughter. Cheers. Jessica caught it all on video. We partied until nearly midnight. And for the first time in years, I felt celebrated not for what I could give someone else, but for who I am. The next morning, I made coffee, still smiling from the night before, and posted a few pictures online. The caption was simple: "Grateful for everyone who came to celebrate my promotion. Youngest department head in company history, still can't believe it." I didn't know it yet, but that post was about to blow up my phone and change the dynamic with my family forever. I stared at my phone for a long moment after reading my mom's text. "You always spring things on us at the last minute." Last minute? I'd given them almost 2 weeks. And always? I hardly tell them anything anymore. But the dagger was in the next message. "Your father and I won't be able to make it either. You know how important my book club is to me, and you're being inconsiderate. You only think about yourself, Haley." Only think about myself, that one landed hard. Here I was, finally reaching a career milestone I'd bled for, wanting to celebrate it with the people who are supposed to care the most, and somehow, I'm the selfish one. Then, like a light switching on, it all made sense. I wasn't sad. I wasn't even angry. I just understood. I typed back, "No problem at all. I completely understand. Have fun with your plans." And that was it. No arguing. No guilt-tripping myself into explaining why this mattered. They'd already made it clear exactly where I ranked. Funny thing is, I never even told them my new address. I'd been planning to send it after they confirmed. Now? They didn't need to know. So, I poured my energy into the kind of celebration that would actually mean something with people who show up. I called my favorite restaurant downtown and ordered the full works: mini crab cakes, bacon-wrapped scallops, roast beef sliders, charcuterie boards, decadent chocolate mousse for dessert. I scheduled a cleaning service for Friday night, picked up several bottles of good wine, craft beer, and sparkling water. Jessica promised to bring flowers and her camera. Michael from work offered to help with setup. Even my boss seemed genuinely excited to come. Honestly, that meant more to me than any forced "we're proud of you" from my family. The week flew by. Between work and party prep, I barely thought about their rejection. Saturday morning, I treated myself: hair appointment at 9, nails at 11, then a stop at the florist for fresh arrangements. I slipped into my navy cocktail dress around 5, lit a few candles, and put on a playlist that always makes me feel unstoppable. The food arrived at 6:30 on the dot. Everything looked perfect. And for the first time in a long time, I felt good, really good. At 7 sharp, Jessica arrived first with a bouquet so big it almost hid her smile. Then came Michael and his girlfriend, a handful of coworkers, and a few old college friends. By 8, the place was alive with laughter, clinking glasses, and that warm hum of people who are genuinely happy to be there. And the best part? Nobody asked where my family was. The people in that room already knew if they weren't there, there was a reason. Around 9, my boss tapped his wine glass, and the room fell silent. "Haley," he began, locking eyes with me, "in the 3 years since I recruited you from that bank, you've blown past every expectation I had. You're sharp, you're dedicated, and you have a rare gift for finding solutions where others only see problems. You've earned every bit of this promotion." My throat tightened. No one in my family had ever spoken about me like that. And, he added with a smile, "let's not forget at 29, you're the youngest department head in this company's history. That's no small feat. Plus, this comes with a well-deserved raise, so don't be surprised if the next celebration is in the backyard of the gorgeous house you'll buy." The room erupted in cheers and laughter. Jessica caught every second on video. In that moment, surrounded by people who valued me for me, I realized something: this was my real family, and I didn't need anyone's last name or bloodline to make it official. My boss raised his glass a little higher. "And what makes this even more special," he said, "is that Haley is now the youngest department head in our company's history. 29 years old, achieving something most people don't see until their 40s or 50s. I couldn't be prouder to have her on our team." The room burst into cheers and applause. I had to blink back tears, real, happy tears. But he wasn't finished. "With this promotion comes a well-earned raise, and honestly, Haley deserves every penny. I have no doubt that the next time we're celebrating, it'll be in the backyard of some gorgeous home she's bought with all that new money." The laughter and clinking glasses filled the room. Jessica caught every second on her phone, the camera shaking slightly when people erupted into applause again. One by one, my friends took turns raising their glasses. Samantha said how proud she was to know me. Michael cracked a joke about how soon I'd be his boss. It was warm, light-hearted, and perfect in a way I didn't think parties could be anymore. We kept going until almost midnight, nobody wanted to leave. Conversations lingered, music hummed in the background, and every corner of my apartment felt alive. For the first time in years, I felt celebrated, really, truly seen. The next morning, I woke up with that glow still buzzing in my chest. I brewed a pot of coffee, put on some music, and started tidying up. Somewhere between loading the dishwasher and folding the extra table linens, I thought, why not share this? I grabbed my phone, scrolled through Jessica's photos, and chose a few that perfectly captured the night, the laughter, the flowers, the plates of food. I even included the video of my boss's speech. My caption was simple: "Grateful for everyone who came to celebrate my promotion to department head. Couldn't ask for better friends and colleagues." Officially, the youngest department head in company history, still can't believe it. I hit post, set my phone down, and went back to cleaning. For the next couple of hours, it was just me, the music, and the satisfaction of a celebration well done. When I finally picked up my phone again around noon, I froze. 37 missed calls: Mom, Dad, Emily, David, Mom again, Emily again. Over and over. The calls had started around 10 a.m. and hadn't let up. I didn't call anyone back. Instead, I opened our family group chat, and there it was, a flood of messages waiting for me. "Mom, Haley, honey, I just saw your post. I had no idea you worked for Morrison Financial. That's such a prestigious company. Dad, so proud of you, sweetheart. Department head at your age is incredible. Emily, oh my God, Haley, why didn't you tell us you bought an apartment? It looks amazing in the video. David, congrats on the promotion. You're killing it. Emily again, seriously though, when did you move? Your place looks so nice. Mom, we should have been there to celebrate with you. I feel terrible we missed such an important night." I laughed, out loud. Literally laughed. Where was all this energy last week when I invited them? Where was this sudden interest for the past 3 years? But it didn't stop there. More messages came in as I scrolled. Emily, you have to tell us everything. I can't believe you've been keeping all this from us. Mom, your boss seems so nice. And what he said about your raise, Haley, you must be doing so well. Dad, we need to get together soon so you can tell us all about your success. And there it was, the whiplash shift from disinterest to sudden pride, all because they finally saw something in my life worth bragging about. It was like watching strangers play the role of my family, warm, curious, full of pride they'd never shown before. Where the hell had these people been all my life? I closed the group chat without replying and went back to my Sunday laundry, grocery run, prepping meals for the week. Normal, adult responsibilities. The kind you handle alone when you've built a life without relying on anyone's approval. But they didn't quit. All week, my phone lit up with calls and voicemails. Haley, it's Mom. Please call me back. I want to hear all about your job and your beautiful apartment. Hey sis, it's Emily. I feel awful we didn't know about your promotion. Call me back, I want to take you shopping, to celebrate. Haley, this is Dad. Your mother and I are so proud. We had no idea you were doing so well. Please, give us a call. I listened to every one of them and didn't respond. Jessica had been right. Now that they knew I had money and status, I was suddenly worth their attention. Suddenly, I mattered. The texts were worse. Mom asking for my address so they could drop by. Emily wanting to know when I'd moved in and how I could afford the place. Dad sending links to articles about my company, like he'd been following the financial sector for years. It was pathetic. And insulting. Did they really think I wouldn't notice that their affection had a $sign attached to it? By Friday, desperation seeped into Mom's words. Haley, I don't understand why you're ignoring us. We're your family. We love you. We want to be part of your success. Please don't shut us out. I almost replied, almost. I nearly typed out the truth, that they'd had more than enough chances to be part of my life, and they'd passed on every one of them. But I stopped. What would be the point? Saturday morning, I was in my pajamas, coffee in one hand, paperback in the other, when the doorbell rang, probably a package I'd ordered, new work clothes as a little promotion gift to myself. I opened the door and froze. There they were. All of them. Mom. Dad. Emily. David. And little Logan, clutching a juice box, standing in my hallway with forced smiles and a grocery bag. Surprise. Mom chirped, like this was some feel-good reunion scene. Before I could even form a response, they brushed past me into my apartment. Emily made a beeline for the living room, scanning everything like she was appraising it for sale. She ran her fingers along my bookshelf, peeked into the kitchen. Well, Haley, she said, not warmly, but like she couldn't wrap her head around me affording this place. How much did this cost you? I ignored her, turning to my mom. What are you doing here? She started unloading the grocery bag onto my counter. Cake, wine, even paper plates. We brought cake and wine. We wanted to celebrate your promotion properly. My promotion was last Saturday, I said evenly. You all refused to come. Her smile twitched, just for a moment. Well, yes, but we didn't realize how big of a deal it was. You should have told us more about your job. I held her gaze. I tried 3 years ago. Remember? I brought cake and wine to your house, and you spent the night celebrating Emily's car wash plans instead. Emily had already moved to my kitchen cabinets, opening them like she lived here. God, Haley, this place must have cost a fortune. Her tone made it clear this visit wasn't about pride, it was about curiosity, and maybe, just maybe, figuring out how much of my success they could claim a piece of. I had no idea you were making so much money. Emily blurted, her eyes darting around like she was adding up every piece of furniture in my apartment. And there it was, the real reason they were here. I looked right at her. Actually, you don't know anything about my life, you don't know what I make, you don't know when I moved. You don't even know what company I work for. The only reason you're standing in my apartment is because you saw a video of my boss talking about my salary. Dad tried to cut in. Now, Haley, that's not fair. We're here because we're proud of you. Proud of me? I laughed, and it wasn't a nice laugh. Where was this pride last week when I invited you to my promotion party? Where was it 3 years ago, when I got this job? Where was it 6 months ago, when I bought this place? You never told us you bought a place, Emily shot back, as if that was somehow my fault. I never told you because you never cared enough to ask. The room went quiet. Logan sat stiffly on my couch, clearly wishing he could disappear. Mom cleared her throat, trying to regain control. Haley, I think you're being unfair. We've always cared about you. No, I said firmly. You've always cared about Emily. Remember 3 years ago, when I came over with cake and wine to share my new job? Emily interrupted to talk about her car wash, and you spent the rest of the night celebrating her with my cake, with my wine, while I sat there invisible. Emily's face turned crimson. She remembered. That's not how it happened, she mumbled, her voice weak. That's exactly how it happened. And it's been the same my whole life. Emily's engagement, Emily's wedding, Emily's pregnancy, Emily's house, Emily's business, everything's always about Emily. I was just the backup daughter you kept in the wings for when you needed an audience. Mom's eyes widened like she'd never heard me say anything like this before. Haley, you're our daughter too. We love you. Do you? I asked quietly. Because loving someone means taking interest in their life, it means showing up when they ask you to. It means caring about their achievements even when there's no paycheck attached. I walked to the door and opened it. I think you should leave now. Mom's eyes welled up as she packed the cake and wine back into the bag. Haley, you're tearing this family apart. We're trying to reach out and you're being cruel. Emily paused at the doorway, looking me dead in the eye. You know what your problem is, Haley? You've always been jealous of me. Mom and Dad have always loved me more, and you can't stand it. Now you have some money and think you're better than us. I smiled calm, unshaken. Emily, I'm not jealous of you, I pity you. You're 32 and still need Mom and Dad's approval to feel like you matter. I don't need that anymore. Dad was last to leave. He lingered at the door. Haley, you're making a mistake. Family is important. You're right, I said. Family is important. That's why I'm done pretending we're one. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned against it. A weight I'd been carrying for decades lifted right off my chest. For the first time in my life, I'd said exactly what needed to be said. The next few months were bliss. I threw myself into my new role, and it turns out, I'm damn good at being a boss. My team respects me. My projects deliver. The company newsletter even ran a piece calling me a rising star to watch. I went on dates without feeling like I needed to hide them from anyone. Bought myself nice things without a shred of guilt. Traveled when I felt like it. Weekend in Napa, a long week in Miami, a quick getaway to Sedona just because the weather was perfect. And my family? They tried reaching out a few times. Emily posted her usual passive-aggressive junk on Facebook about how it's sad when family members turn their backs on the people who love them. I didn't comment. I didn't even hit like. Because I was done playing their game. Mom had sent a few texts over the week's, little guilt-laced invitations to come home for dinner and work things out. I deleted every one without replying. Then, about 4 months after that blowout, my phone lit up one Tuesday afternoon, Mom's name, again and again, 5 calls in a row. I finally picked up. Haley, she said, her voice tight with urgency, thank God you answered. I need to talk to you about Emily. What about her? I asked flatly. She's in trouble, honey. Big trouble. The car wash is failing. They owe the bank a lot of money, they might lose everything. I waited. I knew there was more. Haley, I know you make good money now, and Emily needs help. Could you possibly lend her some money to save the business? And there it was, the real reason she called, not because she missed me, not because she wanted to make amends. Just another request with dollar signs attached. No, I said simply. Haley, please. She's your sister. This is what family does for each other. Mom, you're right, this is what family does, but you made it clear I'm not really part of this family. Emily made it clear, too. So no, I'm not giving her money. If you don't help her, she pushed, she could lose her house, she has a child to think about. That's not my problem. Emily chose to start a business. Emily chose to take out loans. Emily chose to risk her family's financial security. Those were her decisions, not mine. Mom's voice cracked. How can you be so heartless? This is your nephew we're talking about. Logan is not my responsibility, I said. He's Emily's and David's. And apparently yours since you care so much about their situation. I hung up. An hour later, my phone buzzed again, a text from Emily. Haley, you are a terrible person. You've always been jealous because Mom and Dad loved me more. Now you have money and you won't even help your own family. I hope you're happy being alone. I read it, laughed, and deleted it. She still thought it was about jealousy. She still didn't get it. 3 months later, word got back to me through mutual acquaintances. Emily and David had lost the car wash completely. They'd sold their house to pay off the bank. Now, all 4 of them, Emily, David, Logan, and my parents were crammed into my childhood home. And apparently, Mom had a new story to tell anyone who'd listen, that it was all my fault. That I was cruel and selfish. That I'd abandoned my family when they needed me most. She even told our neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, that I'd forgotten where I came from and that money had turned me into a horrible person. But here's the truth, I didn't care. Not anymore. I'm 31 now. 6 months ago, I earned another promotion, senior director, just 2 levels below the executive team. Last month, I bought a house. Not an apartment. A full house with a yard, a porch, and enough space to host the kind of parties my so-called family never cared to attend. I'm dating a great guy from work, kind, thoughtful, the kind of man who makes me feel like I matter without me having to earn it. I have friends who cheer me on when I succeed and stick by me when things get rough. Sometimes I think back to that night 3 years ago, the night I showed up with cake and wine to celebrate my new job, only to watch them use it to toast Emily's business instead. It stung back then. Now? I see it as the best thing that could have happened, because it showed me exactly who they were. They're not evil. They're not villains in some grand story. They're just people who only value others when it benefits them. They love Emily because she makes them feel needed and important. They came running back to me only when they thought I could solve their financial mess. And I've learned something invaluable: you can't make people love you the way you want to be loved, you can't force them to see your value. You can't convince them to prioritize you when they've already decided you don't matter. What you can do is surround yourself with people who already see your worth. People who celebrate your wins because they're genuinely happy for you, who show up when you need them, and who don't expect anything in return. I have those people now. And I've never been happier. So my family can keep their drama, their guilt trips, and their conditional love. I'll keep my peace, my success, and my chosen family, the ones who actually give a damn. Haley's story is a powerful reminder that self-worth should never depend on conditional love or selective attention. Many people spend years chasing validation from those who consistently overlook them, hoping one more achievement will finally earn approval. But as this experience shows, some relationships are built on convenience, not genuine care. When people only show interest after your success becomes visible or financially valuable, that's not love, it's opportunism. The lesson here is to stop pouring emotional energy into proving yourself to those who have already decided you don't matter. Instead, invest in relationships where your presence, not just your accomplishments, is valued. True family, whether by blood or choice, celebrates your wins without competition, shows up without being asked, and supports you without expecting a return. Letting go of those who diminish your worth isn't cruelty, it's self-preservation. In midlife, especially, it's essential to protect your peace, recognize your own value, and build a circle that reflects it back to you. Because the people who matter won't need a promotion, a title, or a bank balance to see your importance, they'll know it all along.